Hello, I'm Jennifer Rosato from the Mobile Computer Science Principles Project, and I'm going to share some information with you today about recruiting students to your course. So you may not have thought about this before because you haven't had to do it for other courses, but we have a specific goal in the computer science education community to broaden participation in computer science beyond those that we think of as traditional computer scientists. So we want to involve more women, more underrepresented minorities, more students with disabilities, so that we have a broad group of kids exposed and able to use computer science. So that means that we need to do a little more consideration or thinking about how we recruit students who may not consider taking a computer science course in the first place. When we ask our teachers, what is your biggest challenge in recruiting for equity in your computer science principles class? These are some things that they mention. So, administration, challenging, having previously taken computer science, talking to parents, getting diverse students in there, girls, etc. So, we're in the presentation, I'm going to go through a number of high impact strategies and ways that you can use them. And then afterwards, there's another video where a master teacher will share how they've used some of those strategies in practice to get more underrepresented students in their classes. First, though, let's talk about the data. So on this graph, you can see the enrollment information for the advanced placement version of the Computer Science Principles course. So the first two columns in this graph for all of the categories, they're below, so the blue and the orange, the light blue and the orange column, are the data for all advanced placement Computer Science Principles courses offered in 2017 and 2018. The second two columns, the green and the dark blue, are the data for mobile CSP in particular. So you can say that we follow relatively similar trends to national averages. However, we have a little bit fewer underrepresented minorities, so Black, African American, Latino students in our courses than national averages. And that's something we want to change. We want to put a recruitment challenge out to the community, mobile CSP community, and say, let's help move the needle in diversifying and broadening participation in computing. So let's talk about some goals. I think given where we're at right now with females, around 30%, we can move the needle and say, you know what, if I just ask 2 or 3 more girls and encourage them to get into my class, then we're probably getting closer to that 40% as a goal. All right. If I just talk to 1 or 2 more African American students, a couple more Latino students, etc., then we're going to move the needle and increase those percentages from 15% up to 25%. So while the numbers might look a little scary, just think about in your class. That means just getting a couple more students who are underrepresented of each of these groups into your class. So what can you do in your classes to recruit just a couple more in each of these groups? All right. Here are those high impact strategies I was mentioning. Personal encouragement, counselors and administrators, peer recruitment, and recruiting in groups. So first, personal encouragement. The number one thing that I think you can do is to tell a student that you think they should take the course. So someone, we think about who fits the stereotype of a computer science, a white, Asian, male. So a student who may not fit those demographics may have never ever considered, just had no idea that they should maybe take a computer science course. So by reaching out to them and saying, you know what, I think you would be good in this course. You are very creative, or I can see how much you love solving problems. I think you would be able to use those skills in this course and you would find it really interesting. All right. You could reach out in person, you could reach out via email, you could, send a note to them, any manner of reaching out and encouraging students individually just to know, let them know that you think they can be successful in the course and that this would have value to them. Second strategy here is to talk with your counselors and administrators. So counselors are often the people who are helping students do the actual registration for the courses and checking over schedules with students. So make sure that counselors understand what this course is about. Bring them some coffee, and I'm not talking about coffee from the lounge. Bring them some good coffee or a donut or cookies or a healthy snack, and have a conversation with them about what the course is about, how it might benefit students, potential college and career options that could be available from the course. Same thing with administrators, whether you can have a personal conversation with them ahead of time or at least during the school year as your students are in the course and they're developing these really cool apps, apps that maybe are connected to something going on at the school. Have them come in and see the apps, show the apps to them, go to, different events. Next strategy is peer recruitment. So high school students, as we know, are highly influenced by their peers. So see if you can get students that are in the course to recruit their friends. Say, you know what, if you're signed up, why don't you encourage a friend or two to join you in this class? You could also, if you've taught the class before, you could ask students to share with other students, whether it's in a club or in other classes, to share things that they've done and what was really exciting and useful for them in the course. And finally, recruit in groups. So it can be scary to sign up for the class on your own or to think about joining the class on your own. So think about recruiting students in group. Make pitches to groups like the National Honor Society, to cheerleaders, to the football team. Encourage people to bring a friend to an event if you're having an open house or something like that, or to get a friend to sign up for the course with them. So all of those are strategies that have high impact in terms of getting students into the course. A little bit more data for you. So Google and Gallup did a poll of parents, administrators, students over the course of a couple different years and have a lot of rich data about computer science in high schools and in K-12 in general. So students who've been told by a teacher or a parent that they would be good at CS are 2.5 to 3 times as likely to be interested in learning computer science. So that's where that personal encouragement strategy is a really high impact one. They're also 1.5 times as likely to have learned computer science, about 2 times as likely to learn computer science online in a group outside or inside school, and to be more confident in math and science. So that's a little bit of data that backs up the personal encouragement piece. A note here about recruiting for equity. So as you're recruiting, we want to keep in mind that our goal is to broaden participation in computing and that some messages may be more helpful than other messages. So first, there's a perception that somebody who's confident about their computer science skills means that they're really good at it. That's not true. Confidence does not equal ability. Just because somebody has experience doesn't mean that they will continue to be good at it or that other people without experience can't learn to be good. So it just means that you're not good yet, all right? And it may appear that students who come into the class and are doing well, it may look like they're really good at it, but it could just be that they have a lot of prior experience. Maybe they've gone to a coding camp during the summer or on a weekend or a coder dojo of some kind. They might have previous experience that makes them more confident and looks like they're performing better than other students. But really, everybody can learn in this course, and that's a message that you can use with students. This class is for students who've never had computer science before. You can learn a lot in it. Next piece to keep in mind is like the language and images that you use. So make sure that you're avoiding words like "hey guys," and the pronouns are inclusive. So he and she or you or your, that kind of thing. If you're going to include images on recruitment materials like a poster or a flyer or an email that you send out, make sure you have a mix of students on there. So we want all students to be able to say, you know what, I can see that there are other students like me who are doing this computer science class. I can do it too. The one thing I would caution you about here is that you don't want to say target directly girls and say, hey, we need more girls in computing. Instead, you just want to make sure that there's a variety. If you target or call out a specific group, that actually invokes negative stereotypes about why they're not in computer science and can turn them off even more. Emphasize creativity and collaboration. the course and Mobile CSP, students are working in partners, in groups of 4, in teams all the time. So this is not about working alone in a cubicle in the dark on programming and typing away at your computer. This is a lot about being creative and working with other people. Also try to connect to student interests. So you know your students, or you can find out about them, ask them questions. What are they interested in? What kind of careers are they considering? Maybe they're considering a career in marine biology. Totally fine. Did you know that marine biologists use apps to track animals in the water and find out, migration patterns? Okay, so knowing computer science can help students with the data analysis. It can help them create apps that can do these kinds of things. So think about what the student interests are and how computer science impacts that field. This course isn't necessarily about getting more students into computer science as a major and into the career field. We think all students can really benefit by knowing more about computer science since our world is so driven by it these days. And then finally, think about and talk with your counselors and administrators about any advanced placement or concurrent enrollment policies you have. So what barriers might there be for students to take classes? So College Board for advanced placement classes says students only need to have Algebra 1. So your school shouldn't be requiring anything beyond Algebra 1 for students to have as a prerequisite for the course. Is there a GPA limit on who can take the course? Is there room for changing that or making exceptions to it? This in particular is a class that we've heard many teachers say that some students that normally wouldn't be considered for AP and concurrent enrollment classes really shine. They get engaged by the material. They are, allowed to be creative and allowed to develop something that connects to their interests, and they really just shine in this course. So think about those policies and how you might be keeping out students that actually could have an impact and really engage them in school. And then finally, just a little bit more data. So thinking about our perceptions and our unconscious biases about who's in computer science, the data actually shows that Black and Hispanic students are 1.5 to 1.7 times more likely than white students to be very interested in learning computer science. They know that those are great careers and that they have that those are solid jobs that are out there and something that they could continue on in. So think about that, but then also realize Black students have less access to computer science classes. Black and Hispanic students have less exposure to computers. So how can we change that? How can we use these strategies to make sure we are connecting with Black and Hispanic students, removing barriers in terms of policies to getting them into classes that can support them in wanting to learn more about computer science. So this presentation was a summary of some of those data and strategies around recruiting students into your computer science courses. Again, look for a video from a Mobile CSP master teacher on how they've implemented some of those strategies in practice.